You know, this was a modern era. Peter O'Toole would have probably won an Emmy for this performance. But back in the day when big movie stars like him ended up in television, either it was ignored or not taken seriously. But Rogue Male, probably one of the best TV movies from the UK of the 1970s and holds up in every level. Now, Rogue Male is a 76 British TV film starring the great Peter O'Toole based on Geoffrey Household's 1939 novel Rogue Male. Made by the BBC, it was adapted by Frederick Raphael, directed by Clive Donner, and also stars Alistair Sim in his last film role, John Standing and Harold Pinter. First broadcast on September 22nd, 76. Now, composer of the music, Christopher Gunnan. Mark Shivas was producer, cinematographer was Brian Tufano, who did a great job. Editor Dan Ray. Single camera setup, 100 minutes. Now, came up on BBC2, September 22nd, 76, and was distributed international, I think, through CBS Video. Now, it's early in 1939 before the start of the Second World War. Sir Robert Hunter, played by O'Toole, takes aim at Adolf Hitler with a hunting rifle, but hesitates to shoot and is spotted and tackled by an SS guard. Captured and tortured by the Gestapo, and he pulled out his fingernails. He claims that his aim at Hitler was simply an intellectual exercise, to see if it could be done. Because of his high status in Britain, his captors intended to shoot him and cover it up as a hunting accident. But because his body displays clear evidence of torture, they decide to send to throw him off a cliff to disguise the signs. However, Hunter survives the fall, and with the aid of a German fisherman who doesn't like Hitler and a friendly sailor, he makes his way back to England. He soon discovers that the German agents are after him, and that the Nazi government has requested his extradition. After killing a pursuer by electrocuting him on the London Underground, Sir Robert, now a fugitive, goes underground in rural England to escape his pursuers. It is revealed through flashbacks that his girlfriend, who played a role in organizing the German resistance, was executed by the Nazi government, and that's the reason why he is the rogue male. Now, Hunter's lead pursuer, an English Nazi sympathizer named Major Queeve Smith, successfully tracks him to his lair and traps him within it. Rather than kill Hunter, Queeve Smith offers to spare his life if he signs a false confession stating he attempted to assassinate Hitler on behalf of British intelligence. Over the course of several days, Hunter constructs a rudimentary crossbow, lures Queeve Smith into looking down his breathing hole, and shoots him in the head, killing him. Now, it's very weird as well when he does get out of that pit. He pretends he's the Nazi sympathizer, and the comely lass that has a crush on said Nazi is totally fooled. Now, soon afterwards, Britain declares war against Germany, and Hunter, now with his status restored, agrees to discuss with Admiralty about a secret mission, heavily implied to be a second attempt on Hitler's life. Now, Peter O'Toole as Sir Robert Hunter, John Standing as Major Queeve Smith, Alistair Sim as the Earl, Harold Pinter as Saul Abrahams, Michael Byrne as Interrogator, Mark McManus as Van Ray Smith as Fisherman, Hugh Manning as Peel, Robert Long as Jessel, Sid Heyman as Rebecca, Eunice as Mula, Philip Jackson as First Seaman and Nicholas Ball as Second, Maureen Leapman as Frida, Ray Mort as Gerald, Michael Shead as Hitler, Shirley Dinovor as Yvonne Vaughn, Yvonne Roberts as Drake, and John Ringham as SS officer. Now, this is sort of like the big connection with the Twilight Zone episode where the guy is attempting to kill Hitler but backs off at the last moment, like a test. But this is pretty well what you call, as part of the British revivalist movement. You were seeing a lot of James Bond and who can we kill Hitler, and the boys from Brazil is later clones of Hitler. It seemed to be a good time for this type of movie. The novel was filmed in 41 by Fritz Lang as Manhunt, with, of all people, Canadian Walter Pidgeon in the lead role. According to producer Shivas, script editor Richard Brooke had the idea of making 6 TV movie trailers for the BBC, which showed the changing nature of the British hero from 1839, with Rogue Male to be the last. Shivas was then working on an adaptation of The Glittering Prizes with writer Frederick Raphael and commissioned him to adapt Rogue Male. Raphael went back to the novel and ignored the 41 film. Shivas felt there was 3 things any version of Rogue Male had to have: the attempted assassination of Hitler at the beginning of the story, the chase on the London Underground, and the Battle Underground at the end. Filming took only 25 days but involved 29 locations. Chivas would make 2 more others in the series. She fell among thieves and 3 hostages. The nearby Radio Times for the first screening of the film. Household acknowledged they always intended the protagonist's target to be Hitler. Although the idea for Rogue Male germinated from my intense dislike of Hitler, I did not actually name him in the book as things were a bit tricky at the time. I thought it would leave it open so that the target could be either Hitler or Stalin. You could take your pick. It was reported that Peter O'Toole had agreed to be cast in Rogue Male partly because the original novel was a favorite of his wife, Sian Phillips. Now, some of the filming took place around Kingstag and Dorset, including the area around a local pub, the Fox Inn, Court Hill, Corscombe, Dorset. As a TV production, the film was made on a relatively tight budget and the crew was paid at lower rates applicable to TV productions. Now, rumor has it Peter O'Toole did not take a salary for this movie because he felt it was prestige. Now, despite its low budget, the finished film was regarded by the BBC as being suitable for a cinema release internationally. This had the potential to cause legal and industrial problems in the UK, but the crew had not been paid at a rate applicable to cinema releases. The BBC decided to terminate screenings in the UK and disallow future screenings in the country. In an interview with Francine Stock for BBC Radio's 4 film program in 2007, Peter O'Toole named the film as his favorite among those that he had made. Now, there's no the Clive Dunner movies were quite strong. After this, he did The 3 Hostages Again, The Thief of Baghdad, The Nude Bomb, Charlie Chan and The Curse of the Dragon Queen, Oliver Twist, and The Scarlet Pimpernel. But the idea about the original movie with Walter Pidgeon, if you can find it, it's called, again, Manhunt. This thriller, directed by Lang and Joan Bennett as a co-star, based on the Rogue Male. Lang had fled to Germany exile in 1933. This was the first of his 4 anti-Nazi films, which included Ministry of Fear, Hangman Also Die, and Cloak and Dagger. It was Roddy McDowall's first Hollywood film after escaping London during the Blitz. Manhunt was one of many films released in 1941 that were considered so pro-British that he influenced neutral members of the U.S. public to sympathize with the British side in World War II. Now, in this one, renowned British big game hunter Captain Alan Thorndike slips through the forest undetected near Bergorf, Adolf Hitler's residence near Berchtesgaden. With Hitler's telescopic sight, he pulls the trigger on the loaded rifle and gives a wave. He ponders a moment and loads a live round, but discovered at the last second by a guard, the rifle goes off in the struggle. Now, the movie, again, it's slightly different than the initial Rogue Male. And George Sanders plays the Queen Smith character, with actually John Carradine in it as well. So a very interesting cast for sure. Now, this version of Rogue Male is about 105 minutes, which is kind of long for the time. But Fritz Lang uses the best of his production. But Beverly Crowder, writing for New York Times, said that Manhunt rates somewhat above the run of ordinary chase films, projecting certain subtle psychological overtones, but it doesn't fulfill its possibilities completely. There was a DVD release of this later on. It also is a timeless quality work of your imagination. And according to the Academy Film Archive, preserved Manhunt in 2000 as part of the Fritz Lang oeuvre. So whether you like the Fritz Lang version of Rogue Male or if you like the Peter O'Toole version, what really stands out for me, it's kind of one man's battle for his own soul against the Nazis. They have killed a member of his family's beloved wife or beloved girlfriend, as we say. But Peter O'Toole's performance in this, flawless. Like I said, every line he delivers and every moment that's there, especially when he's at the bar and he's trying to draw attention for himself, he starts singing like a weird kind of British ditty. But when he has that conversation with the fisherman that saves him, it's like he's a total English gentleman. It really shows how good Peter O'Toole was. And if there was going to be an international Emmy for performance that year, should have went to Peter O'Toole. So that's the story. One of my favorite movies of all time, Rogue Male. If you like what you're doing here, what are screenshots and remote control podcasts, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.